Right, gang, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Lots to get into today in today's episode of Chelsea News. Of course, Chelsea News is the daily series here on Football Therapy where I, your host, Jan, reflects on what's being said about Chelsea Football Club, giving you my thoughts on it, more importantly, asking for yours. Today we're speaking on a load of things, a little bit of transfer news and rumours. Could Newcastle United be back in for perhaps disappointing Liam Delap, of course, not necessarily won the hearts of Chelsea fans just yet. Barcelona could be interested in Pedro Neto, a rumour coming from Mundo Deportivo out in Spain. Simon Phillips' website's reporting on that. Many of you will have seen Reece James has signed a new six-year deal, basically committing the entirety of his prime career to Chelsea Football Club. He is, of course, Chelsea's captain, proper Chelsea. He attended the press conference with Chelsea head coach Rosenior in the pre-match press conference for our game against Newcastle tomorrow. A little bit more, Ben Jacobs has also spoken about Levi Colwill could follow in terms of signing a new long-term deal. He's just come back from his ACL, he's only just returned to training. And of course we can speak about and preview the Newcastle United game after going through said press conference between Liam Rosenior and Reece James. And we can end the content building our own lineup and speaking about a really must win, an important opportunity to get 3 points in the race for Champions League. Of course, Aston Villa are playing Man United, so those two will drop points against each other one way or another. A good opportunity for Chelsea to get back on the horse and maybe dream for a miracle next week, but I do think perhaps our Champions League journey is over. Very interesting indeed how Reece James suddenly appears in a press conference and some good news happens just after a very disappointing and deflating implosion away in Paris, of course, in the Champions League. A frustrating game. I've since sort of listened to loads of podcast reviews, pieces of content on Chelsea's result. Of course, people spoke about the 5-2 with Tottenham, the 3-0 with Man City. Comparatively, out of those two, and indeed Chelsea, all at a 3-goal deficit, everyone agrees that Chelsea's should not be 3-0 down in this tie against PSG in terms of how the game went. But it still doesn't stop the mood from being negative and the interesting time that Reece James's new contract is announced. Very strategic, you would say. It's going to be a great piece of content, gang. I'm delighted to have you all here with me. If you do enjoy my content, please do take a millisecond of your existence and tap like on the video. If you're watching on YouTube, you're of course welcome to subscribe should you choose to do so. Let's see if I've got anything. You should hit that sweet bell, baby. And of course, please do consider giving me a follow and 5-star rating on your podcast platform simply by searching Football Therapy Podcast. Let's go. Sweet and sensual stuff. Right, first of all, the Daily Mail, Newcastle Confidential, have spoken about the situation with our weekend opponent, Newcastle United. Now, they are looking for a new striker, despite signing Visser and Vultamada in the summer. They are looking at signing a new centre forward. Now they might consider going in. This is Toon Will Hunt for another striker. Confirmation here on Daily Mail Confidential. They've looked at various names. Apparently they looked at Solanke of Tottenham. I suppose if Tottenham get relegated, then yeah, they might go in for Solanke. But yeah, Liam Delap is another name to keep an eye on. Apparently the sources are saying, even if there's no indication at present that Chelsea would be looking to sell in the summer, I do wonder, gang, that even if Mark Guiu goes on loan, as he should, of course, we've got Joao Pedro, who's in excellent form, and we've got Emmanuel Omega coming to Chelsea to play for Chelsea. People are even speculating, that Nico Jackson, who of course got a goal and an assist in the midweek in the Champions League, could return to play for Liam Rosenior. He'd be open to it. Now, of course, Enzo Maresca is gone. A lot of Chelsea fans speculating that would be a good thing, because not only is Nico a striker that we know can contribute to a certain level, He can also play in different positions, and in a Liam Rosenior Chelsea side with a lot of rotation, he could go to the left, he could occupy the middle, he could, do a wide variety of roles. A lot of people are still thinking about Nico Jackson, or perhaps we even sign someone else. There's a lot of permutations that could happen that see Chelsea sell Liam Delap. Even if they sold him for the 30 million they bought him for, which of course was the release clause, they'd make a slight book profit on him. And of course, Newcastle also triggered the release clause. So Chelsea could say to them £35 million or £32 million, or even 30 if they feel like they've got strikers elsewhere. So Liam Delap could be going. We'll see what happens. And, he hasn't really been given a good chance yet. Of course, he had the injury and now he's struggling for confidence. He hasn't had a fair crack at it yet, but we'll see. Let's move on. Before we get into all the Reece James stuff, check this out. There is an article on Cy Phillips's Chelsea News website. Pedro Neto to La Liga. It's a wild transfer rumour. And it's coming from Spain. So I'll read this out to you now. Neto to Barcelona? ? Barcelona are planning to address multiple areas of Hansi Flick's squad during the summer transfer window, and the wing department is one of those. According to Mundo Deportivo, Pedro Neto has been added to their winger shortlist in recent days, with the Chelsea man seen as a possible option from the summer. Apparently, Neto is appreciated for his ability to play on either wing, which is really important for the Barcelona manager Hansi Flick. Now, Neto, how old is he? Has he just turned 27 or 26? I think he's just turned 27. So he's one of our older boys. No, he's just turned 26. He's literally just turned 26. So he's still entering his prime. Look, Neto starts for Portugal's national team that have a plethora of attacking talent. He is good, Neto. I know he divides opinion for Chelsea, and he did get sent off recently with the dumbest second yellow. I was very disappointed with him. The pushing ball boy thing in Paris, I think is a bit meh. He wasn't that aggressive. He apologised. He gave him his shirt, and it was all fine. Really, and the kid was laughing. You could tell it was a bit of a, even the Eden Hazard kick thing was a nonsense. He didn't kick the ball boy. He was trying to kick the ball underneath him, because the ball boy was trying to delay play. It's the exact same thing here, just not even as bad as that. It's all a bit silly buggers, if you ask me. Neto would tear it up for Barcelona. Genuinely, he'd work really hard for Hansi Flick. He'd get, they play a high line. He'd be a defensive winger that could get back quickly. And Chelsea would make, I think we spent 50 million on him. We'd make money on him. Genuinely, he's an elite, high-profile player. Even if he frustrates Chelsea fans, and perhaps in the future, Chelsea fans are designing a team in their heads with Steva on the right wing and, I don't know, maybe Kender on the left wing or something, even though he plays on the right. Or maybe Jamie Gitton's coming really good and evolving into a player. And then maybe Neto is just this Galactico utility man that we've quite literally seen play his native right wing, loads and loads of left wing, quite a lot of false nine, and even a number 10 where he got a hat trick in the FA Cup. So we've seen him play all four positions. Rosenior really likes him. He used to be the man made out of glass when he played for Wolves, and now he's always fit and available to run for 90 minutes. One for this fabled medical team, which obviously is going to come into play in a moment when we speak about Reece James. I would keep Neto, because I think he's quite good. Even if I'm designing this super team in my head, I'd just have Neto in the squad. But if Barcelona wave loads of money underneath our noses, maybe sell him. I would not say he's in the untouchables. Right, let's keep this train going, baby. Of course, the big news of today is Reece James signs a new 6-year contract. This is an article, as you can see for those on the video, from Keris Jones, David Ornstein, Simon Johnson of The Athletic. So let's go through this, gang. Reece James has committed his future to Chelsea by signing a new 6-year contract. The talismanic captain, whose last agreement ran till 2028, so 2 years now. So usually when you extend, will spend what should be the peak period, the rest of his peak of his career at Stamford Bridge. He's obviously 26 now, so this will take him to in his 30s. He joined the club at age 6, and he's now tied down until the summer of 2032. This will be really interesting, guys, because this is me talking, not the article here. Because he signed that deal before the sporting directors came in and did the low age, incentive-based contracts. So Reece James signed like a 200k a week deal. So did Wesley Fofana. And then Mason Mount never got his. That's why he pushed out, because Mason Mount was only ever on 50k a week at Chelsea. And Noni never got his as well. There's slight increases for the likes of Cole Palmer. He went from like 70k a week to 120. Increases, I think even Caicedo and Fernandez that are on high wages, that both less than 200. Cucurella got a pay rise. So they're obviously giving Reece James... I'm going to speculate and guess here. Continued terms of high wages. So look, your whole career here, you're going to get minimum 200k a week, but you've got an incentive-based structure. I think he'll be an exception because he's the Chelsea captain and because he's just undisputably world-class in different positions. So I reckon there is exceptions to their wage structure rule, and obviously it has to be like, they have to be amazing and world-class like Reece James. They have to be a talisman representation of what Chelsea is in an era where the new ownership have diluted and torn it apart a little bit. And one that we're going to lean on as this guy, you know, I love James, but maybe there is an element of he can sort of be a yes man to the hierarchy as well, turning up in that press conference next to Rosenior. I love the project. We're going to be great. You know, we're all aligned sort of thing. So I expect in that way he's worth the money. But obviously we adore Reece James. He's amazing. And he's worth the money anyway. You know, we'll get paid. He will get paid that, and maybe more anywhere, any other club in the world. So he joins in 6. He's now tied down till 2032 in a deal that sees him align with the incentivized wage structure. Ooh. But that he's not going to sign a deal that for the next 2 years he was already contracted for go less. Maybe you will. That's incredible if he does. Although his most recent extension happened under the current ownership, James was the final player still on terms from the previous era, and this development ensures that it will be rectified. What? So he's agreeing to take less money? But the academy graduate is sure to be suitably rewarded for the key role he occupies, plus his faith in the project. Well, there you go. I reckon he is an exception, you know. And there's not going to be like, right, sign to the rest of your career, but... you'll get less. You get this financial security to your 32 or whatever it is, but you'll have to take a hit on the next 2 years' wages that you were going to get. I don't see that happening. Maybe it's just slightly reshuffled. There you go. So this is an important graphic here for those of you watching. Reece James's availability has been impressive this season. Okay, so if you look at the right column here, percentage of minutes played, like available minutes. 1920, the Lampard season, 44.2%. Probably because we still had Azpilicueta and stuff like that, playing at conventional right back. Tuchel comes in, he plays 69.2%, which is loads. That's the season we won the Champions League. Even the season after, he plays 54.5, quite a lot less, but it's still like significant minutes. Starts to drop off the season after that when the new owners... sort of come in. Reece James is on the decline. He only plays 36. And of course, 23-24 is non-existent. 12.3. And then after that, 31. Last season, 31.1. And this season, 69.2%. He's already on par with his best ever season in terms of playing available minutes. And you'd imagine... the way we're managing him, he'll beat that. So this season, sort of coming back from the dead almost, Reece James will play... the biggest percentage of available minutes he's ever played in his career at Chelsea. And if you consider the briefings that were coming out that he needed to leave Chelsea and play in warmer climates like Spain or Portugal to ensure that his hamstrings would be safe, to staying in the Premier League, you know, cold weather, rough and ready, high octane physical speed, and he's playing all the minutes. It is a win for the medical team, you have to give him that. The bond between James and Chelsea always made it clear, likely, that he'd continue. It means that Chelsea's core men are all secured to at least 2030. In the past, James indicated he would be happy to spend the entirety of his days at Chelsea. Apart from, of course, he was on loan at Wigan in the 18-19 season, where he got moved into midfield originally. 5 trophies have been littered along the way, of course. The Champions League, the Super Cup, the Conference League. Didn't he win? Yeah, the old iteration of the Club World Cup. And the new one, of course, as well. That goes into a little bit more detail how this is a key, extension for Chelsea. I mean, yeah, it's good news. We all love Reece James, and there was a lot of speculation. You know, the club is in a difficult place. There's a lot of criticism for the sporting directors, hierarchy, and owners. I've been very, on my social media, I've been talking about just the squad development of this. How I'm very frustrated with the sporting directors. I've said on here how the amount of players coming in and out, even if it's a way for them to generate revenue, I've been very vocal of how I feel like it dilutes what it means to put a Chelsea shirt on, which is my biggest concern. I don't really care that they buy players, make money on them, and if they're really good, they keep them. In theory, that's great, but if you become a big sort of like cattle farm of players, then the Chelsea shirt loses its mystique. You know, Real Madrid wouldn't do that, do you know what I mean? So I'm not the biggest fan of that. But some good news here. Ben Jacobs, of course, reputable journalist, says, understand Levi Colwill is another name Chelsea would look to extend. He's currently contracted till 2029, so he's got 3 years left with a 1-year option that would take him to 2030. Nothing yet, but everyone wants to explore a new deal. Cucurella is believed to have been rewarded with improved terms despite no announcement. Yeah, because Cucurella said that himself. He was like, the deal is done, I'm very happy. Ding! Basically, Cucu got more money. So, yeah, keeping the key men locked down. I think these new owners came in and they saw the Rudiger to Real Madrid on the free. They saw the Christensen to Barcelona on the free, and they were like, that cannot happen. So it's good news. Reece James signs a new deal. Now, we are going to talk about this Newcastle game. There was a press conference with both the manager, head coach, rather, and Chelsea's captain under his new contract, Reece James. He was sort of wheeled out next to him. It's quite nice to see, actually. I like it. I mean, Reece James isn't the most, gregarious guy, or, he's not the best talker, but he does sit there and hold him. So he's, I do love Reece James. He loves Chelsea. And it's nice. It's just a nice story. So this is Bobby Vincent's sort of article with his timeline of the presser. So Rosenior is here. The captain is here too. Reece James is here. James on the new deal. He said, there wasn't much of a decision. I love the club. I experienced winning here and I believe in the future. Make sure you tell them you believe in the project. And I believe in the future. I've spoken to everyone at the club, from owners to sporting directors, and I'm fully behind the club and what they're trying to build. Yes, they're treating me very good. Rosenior, on James signing a new deal, we've secured the best player in the world in his position. More on from Rosenior is when you meet Reece, you see him from afar, many positions. He's technically brilliant. The thing that impresses me most is his humility and how he is a person. For as long as I'm here, he'll be my leader. And he does say he'll be my captain as well. So as long as I'm managing Chelsea, Reece James is my captain. Reece James is my leader. Good. So on players coming back, Gittins and Estevao. Jamie Gittins is involved. Estevao's a little bit further away. I think he's got a hamstring injury. They're obviously being very careful with Big Steve. Jamie Gittins, I haven't given up on Gittins. I really want to see him play a bit more and give him a chance because, people who know more about football than I speak about the ability of this kid, and I really want to see him play for Chelsea more. So the goalkeepers is a huge talking point. This was always going to come up. Rosenior said, obviously I made a decision to play Philip against Villa and his performance was outstanding. His performance against PSG for 75 minutes was outstanding. Disagree. He got away with it, I'd argue, but I understand why Rosenior is saying that. But then he made a mistake, a big mistake, and I think he was poor for the last goal as well, actually. Sanchez is one of the best goalkeepers in the league. For those listening to audio, no, this hasn't paused or lagged. I'm just having a second of silence for that. Many of you actually think Sanchez statistically he is in some ways, but I'm not a believer, I must say. And he goes on to say, I have to make a decision on each game. Neto pushing a ball boy. Nah, it's just boring. Rosenior on whether the PSG game takes priority next week. He says, I don't prioritize any competition. Why would he take priority next week? We need to get back in the Champions League. Not, if we pull off a miracle, we'll pull off a miracle. But you need to go in loose and just enjoy the game, and be like, well, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Well, whatever. Defeat Newcastle. Hopefully they'll have their eye on midweek because they're still in the game against Barcelona. By the way, I heard Duncan Alexander say that it would take a real crazy amount of events for the Premier League not to get the 5th Champions League spot. Because all 6 teams failed to win in midweek in the Champions League, 3 of which are down by 3 goals, of course, being Tottenham, Man City and Chelsea, and probably all won't go through. I do think Arsenal will go through because they're drawing with Leverkusen, they take them home. I still think Liverpool will a win after the goal deficit back at Anfield. And, Newcastle have got a puncher's chance against Barcelona, but apparently, even if only a couple go through, we'll still get that 5th spot, apparently. Friggin' hope so. Dropping points from winning positions. How this is fun. I've been here 2.5 months. That's the reality. How you learn from mistakes is we watch clips where we went wrong. Reece will tell you. I've been here 2.5 months. It takes time. We need to learn, especially from Leeds and Burnley game. Yeah, I mean, those 2 are the killers. Really, aren't they? We should have won both. Definitely. There's 4 points set fire to, in the words of the Chelsea head coach. Fernandes losing his cool with Jorgensen. He says he watched it back. It's passion. Roy Keane used to do similar stuff. It's fine. Don't worry about it, mate. Jameson working with... It's a pretty... this is pretty PR stuff. Reece James just speaking positively about being a captain. And Enzo Fernandez being his vice captain and them working well together. Right then, we do have a game this weekend. We're playing the Toon. I believe we are playing them at Stamford Bridge. Correct. We are playing them at Stamford Bridge. Why can't I find the friggin... What's going on here? 1 second. Yes, we're playing them at Stamford Bridge. I don't know why I had like an aneurysm there. Here we go. This is them at Barcelona though, so I'm not entirely sure they're going to play the same team. I think they'll rotate because, look, Harvey Barnes 86th and that Lamine Yamal penalty, dagger in the heart, late doors. But then, they're not going to get into a European spot in the Prem, or even if they do, it's not like, a priority. I think they'll rotate, so I don't know if we'll see it. I mean, he might just think, look, just to keep these players warm, just to keep them on their toes, just play them against Chelsea. But I think he's going to rotate, genuinely. We'll see Livramento, we'll see like Voltemade or Visser and other potential players, maybe even Nick Pope in goal. Anthony Gordon might start and come off in 60 minutes because he's been pretty well rested. But we might even see a front 2 of like Visser and Voltemade. Do you know what I mean? Like, because they were rested from midweek. So it's very, very tricky to... I think we'll go full strength. We're about to build the lineup. Or close as. And yeah, man, I don't know. It's tricky. You have no idea how Newcastle are going to view this. Because let's look at the Premier League table. I mean, because if they've got... Where are they at the moment? They are... My giddy aunt. They're in 12th place. So what is 6th place? Yeah, I mean... They're 10 points behind like any European. I mean, maybe they could get in the Conference League. I mean, yeah. They won't be aiming for the Conference League qualification, will they? They'll be looking, if we finish in the Europe, fine. I think they'll rotate heavily, but Chelsea will still need to put in a good performance because this game means so much to us, especially in a game week where Aston Villa play Man United. Who the ruddy heck is going to start in goal? I'm going to go with Rob Sanchez, and if he has a really good game, he also starts midweek. I know you shouldn't keep changing your goalkeepers, but here we are. We need to start good players here. Joao Pedro. We need to start Cole Palmer. We need to start... Steval's not ready, so... Neto on the right. Ooh. Neto on the right. He might be a little bit tired. I'd love to see Gittins. Although Garnacho's probably... He hasn't played for a while, so he might come off the bench. So let's give Garnacho a start there. I'd rest Reece James, and I'd play Gusto at right back. Even though he's probably a little bit tired. I'm going to go for the Kai Santos. Ooh. The Kai Santos. Bring Santos back into midfield. Give Enzo Fernandez a little bit of a rest. He plays so many minutes. Hato. Hato's played well. We all like Hato. He seems to be well. I'm going to give Cucurella. I think Cucurella comes back in midweek for PSG. So Hato starts for me there. I think left centre-back, Mamadou Sarr. Of course, no centre-backs cover themselves in glory away in Paris. So Mamadou Sarr, I'm going to give Josh Achampong a start. Ooh, I'd rather see Josh start as a centre-back than Tosin Adarabioyo, because Josh obviously scored that goal the other day as a right-back, which was an important goal, but he looked uncomfortable receiving the ball out wide, where actually he does those marauding runs forward where he starts from centre-back. Now, of course, you don't want to keep changing your back line and how Sarr hasn't played with a Champong in front of Sanchez or whatever, but I am going to go with that. That's just my guess. I do think we win this game. I think perhaps because of the uncertainty at the back and the rotations and all this sort of stuff, I think perhaps it will be we'll concede, because that's just our vibe at the moment. But I think also we win, and we get a valuable 3 points against the Toon at Stamford Bridge. And I'm going to say we win 3-1 at home against Newcastle. Goals scored by Cole Palmer will be good, get his confidence up before the big remontada. That almost certainly won't happen against PSG. Draw Pedro again, and what else would be a feel-good story? Maybe Santos, first goal for Chelsea. Has he scored for Chelsea? In like a cup or something? Don't know. But I'll go for a 3-1 win. Let me know your thoughts, though. Please do leave them in any and all comment section. Thank you for liking and subscribing on YouTube, for following and 5-starring on your podcast apps. I think I'm getting a few more 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts now. So if you're yet to do that and you've got an iPhone, please search Football Therapy Podcast. Give us a 5-star review. That is very helpful. And yeah, man, I hope to see you back here very soon. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.